Good morning, everyone. We will now begin the morning service of the Miroku Association headquarters, asking God and Meishu-sama to protect and bless us as we participate today in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku prayer, please stand.
Taka amahara ni kamzuma Kamuragi kamura mino mikoto mochite Sumemi oya kamu izana gino mikoto Tsukushi no imuka no tachi hana no Odo no awagi hara ni Pisogi hara itamo utoki ni narimaseru hara idono O kami tachi moro moro no maragoto tsumi kegare o arai tamae kiyome tamae toma o tsukoto no yoshi o amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomo ni ame no fuchi koma no mimi Urita tete kikoshin neseto kashiko mi maosu. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami, mamori tamae, saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami, mamori tamae, saki hae tamae. Kum nagara tamachi haemase. Kum nagara tamachi haemase.
Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive group Johrei.
Meishu-sama, bless you.
Johrei is now concluded. We will now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teachings. Truth, virtue, and beauty. Only deeds of love can bring forth a world completely filled with truth, virtue, and beauty. Paradise on earth will be a world of beauty, a place where the inner hearts of all its inhabitants are just as beautiful. One whose thoughts, words, and deeds are always pure, always beautiful, can surely be considered one who lives in paradise. God's purpose is to create an ideal world where truth, virtue, and beauty reign. Needless to say, the dark forces foster falsehood, vice, and ugliness. Beauty is necessary to the soul, as it brings joy and a sense of wholeness, not only to yourself, but to all who come in contact with it. It can be called a kind of virtue. The higher a civilization is, the more conscious it should be of the value of and need for beauty. It is essential that everyone cultivate a greater sense of aesthetic values. By so doing, not only individuals but nations as a whole will benefit. Making beauty and its expressions in the various phases of life one of a person's main goals is a contribution of immeasurable value towards the betterment of society, which will certainly serve as a means of furthering the realization of paradise on earth. Beautiful environments make for beautiful thoughts, helping to place a person's mind on a higher plane. This, in turn, reduces crime and other negative actions in society. It must be realized that any teaching that aims at high ideals should maintain an awareness of beauty.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning service of the Miroku Association. In the teaching today, Meishu-sama talks about one having beautiful thoughts, beautiful words, beautiful deeds, beautiful actions. To have control of having beautiful thoughts is not easy, but one should be careful what words one is going to use. Meishu-sama gave this example of this prime minister in Japan during Meishu-sama's time, Prime Minister Yoshida. At one point, Meishu-sama was praising Prime Minister Yoshida for his policies and the way he was leading Japan as a nation. But then there was this incident where during a meeting of the Congress in Japan, he called one of the congressmen stupid. And this created a big upheaval. So many people were upset that he used such a word in a sacred environment as is the Congress. And instead of apologizing for his words, they said, oh, he regretted that he used not a proper word. So Meishu-sama then was very critical of him because by calling this congressman stupid, he was directing these words to all those who voted for him. So it was not just one person. So many people were behind that one representative. So And because he didn't apologize, so Meishu-sama said, well, he is not qualified to be a prime minister because of his thoughts, so we cannot trust that a nation will be led by someone without that kind of integrity or without kind of a sensibility. And in order for us to then be able to have such a control of not manifesting anger, controlling our temper, and whatnot, that we have our practices of faith, Johrei, and appreciation of art and beauty. This will help us to elevate our spiritual levels, and we will be more mindful. And we want to share that opportunity with others. If Johrei would be only to ourselves, if we would appreciate beauty just for ourselves, that's not the whole purpose of having this spiritual movement, which someone always wanted to share to as many people as possible. That's why he created Johrei, and anyone, according to him, by taking a very simple membership course, is allowed to give Johrei. And we want to create beautiful things to share with others. We, in recent years, probably in the past 20, 30 years or so, we've been practicing the mini flower arranging, the mini bundle, as a very practical way to share beauty with others. So we can carry that with us and give to friends, to neighbors, to family. When we visit a hospital, we take it to a school. So that's our role in spreading beauty. I mentioned once that my youngest son's teacher sent an invitation to parents if they would like to share what their careers were. And I volunteered, not being too hopeful that I would be called, because many schools, for instance, so it's a public school, they shy away from involving religion, that kind of thing. But I mentioned I'm a minister, so if you'd like me to share what I do. And she called me, so I was there with two other parents. One was a former detective, and another was an accountant. So when it was my time, I shared about the flowers of light. I brought one to the teacher and showed to the students to serve as an example, and said how I said I made this myself as a small prototype of beauty that I like to share with others. And then the students start making questions. I answer them. One asked, okay, you're a minister of this Japanese religion. Do you pray for people of other religions too? That's of course. Pray for people who don't believe in God. I pray for everyone, for everyone's happiness. And I talk about Johrei, talk about nature farming and the appreciation of art and beauty. And then the teacher later told me, Marco, amazing how many people want to become ministers now. All these young students, they were on the fourth grade at that time. So I think the words resonated to them. I was very pleased. But that was a lot of fun, to tell you the truth. To when we see all these kids with all these pure hearts and full of hopes and expectations. So it was a great time. Today, I would like to share this faith experience. It's times from Luanda, Angola. Teresa Masala, the Johrei member, and dedicates being in charge of the Johrei group called Verdinha Johrei group. Teresa suffered from an ulcer for 18 years. She had several medical treatments without a solution. Once a doctor prescribed her a medication that altered her neurological system, causing hemorrhage, and she had to be operated on urgently. A few days later, the doctor decided to discharge her, and it was with great pain when the doctor gave her the results of the operation and said she could no longer have children because the ovarian tubes had been ruptured, and the doctors could do nothing about it. She asked the cause, and they replied that the medications were too strong. At the moment, Teresa felt that the world was ending, as it was one suffering after another. Even with the surgery done, the stomach pain did not go away. She continued to look for hospitals and churches, but to no avail. Teresa's sister, seeing her suffering, told her about our church, but she ignored it. Until one day, Teresa's mother had a stroke. Teresa was called to take her mother to the hospital. But her sister said, "Teresa, let's take her to the church." Teresa replied, "Does the church also cure thrombosis?" She said, "Yes, and it will be simply be with Johrei." So they went to the Johrei Center. The missionary there received them very well, but Teresa didn't go inside the center, as she decided to wait outside. They tried to find out if Teresa had any problems, and she arrogantly replied, "No, I have no problems." An hour later, Teresa saw her mother being able to go to the restroom by herself. Teresa was amazed and asked, "What medications did you give her?" They answered, "No, we only channeled Johrei to your mother." Experiencing all of this, the feeling of going to church was born in Teresa when she was guided to try the basic practices of our faith. 2 months after fulfilling them, the ulcer was overcome without leaving any signs, and she was blessed to get pregnant without any problems. To thank for all these blessings, she became a member to better serve in the divine work. The experience of faith that Teresa is going to share now is related to the channeling of Johrei. The month of August, Teresa was given the mission of looking after a group of members. To carry out this mission, she decided to organize Johrei home gatherings. In one of them, she found a neighbor's son purifying with a dental abscess. It was an inflammation that made it impossible for him to see. Teresa began providing Johrei assistance every day, giving him an hour of Johrei. After 3 days, the purification intensified considerably. His face became very inflamed and boils broke out, leaking a lot of pus. The boy's mother was scared, took him to Teresa's house and said, "Look how he looks now." And Teresa, more scared than the mother, replied, "Oh, now I have killed someone else's child." So Teresa reported what happened to her minister, who instructed her to regularly pray with a donation expressing gratitude for this purification and to channel even more Johrei. After 4 more days of channeling Johrei, everything returned to normal. His face deflated and the boils disappeared. Today the boy is in perfect health. To thank for this blessing, Teresa materialized a special donation of gratitude and are attending our church regularly. With this experience, Teresa was able to learn that Johrei is the 21st century medicine. Her commitment is to bring her group of members to deepen into the Johrei practice. Teresa is thankful to God, Meishu-sama, and her ancestors for allowing her to get acquainted with this path of salvation. It was a nice experience from Luanda, Angola. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share these words with you. I wish you a very wonderful day. Thank you very much.
This brings to a conclusion of our morning service. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a blessed day.